Wow, we just saw episode 2 of Modern Love, and it was about what was it called? The journalist's life.
Uh, Prying
Yeah,
Cupid.
Cupid came in the form of a prying journalist,
Yeah,
something like this.
something. Yes.
Anyway, super well written. Oh my gosh, mind blown how well and poetic it was written.
It was
Right?
amazing. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm just, I love it. I love this series.
yeah. Like my queen researched it, I guess, and said this is something maybe we should
Yeah,
watch.
I just saw a little trailer on it and I was like, that looks interesting.
So anyway, it was amazing, amazing show. I definitely suggest people check it out. Modern Love on Amazon Prime, I think. Right.
Uh huh.
So anyway, so there was another love story in this show that we were just talking about, and so this woman meets this guy years ago, and they fell in love, and they had these plans to meet up in Paris or
Yeah.
something, and she never knew why they didn't meet up. And so years and years pass, and in her mind, he stood her up. And so she's now, I think 16 years have passed or something like this,
Mm-hmm.
15 years have passed. And, she's at a book signing, and, you know, he comes to the book signing.
Yeah.
And and like basically she had kept this picture of him all of these years, wondering what happened to him,
Right.
or a picture of them actually. And long story short, they meet up, and all these feelings start flowing and flying all around, and they go out and have a drink, and they're being honest with each other because by now she's married, she has children, he's married, he has children. So anyway, and we were talking about whether or not, well, okay, so they went out on this date and started talking, and they didn't sleep together or anything.
No, they just hung out in the cities,
But romantically,
Yeah,
like
they
reconnecting
they
and
sat on a park bench. And
yeah, holding
watched
each
the
other, watched,
sunrise.
held
Yeah.
each other's hands, watched the sunrise,
Yeah.
and so on and so forth. So they spent the night together, but not in a bed, no sexual stuff. But they did give a kiss on the lips. And so
Right.
we were talking about, you know, did
Did they cheat?
did she cheat on her husband who was back home?
And did he cheat on his wife?
And did he cheat on his wife?
Right? Okay.
Yes, definitely.
So-
So it's no, that was it, right?
Yeah.
And another part of the story was that her husband back home was sort of a bump on the log kind of guy. He wasn't very, intimate with their relationship. It just seemed like they were just coexisting.
Yeah.
And then apparently the man said the same thing about his wife. Like
Right.
they're just under the roof together. They have 2 kids, but there's no spark.
Yeah.
And so we were talking about, did that woman and did that man cheat that day?
Right. My answer is yes. They did cheat. They kissed. It wasn't the biggest form of cheating that could have happened, but
Right.
but I do think, sharing that kind of time emotionally and connecting wise and staring into each other's eyes, and you know it's it's a bit much.
Oh, well, it's without a question it's
Yeah.
much. But we talked about like it's for me, I felt like the kissing was a cheat because that was a physical act, right? So this is how I feel about it.
Right.
I feel the emotions weren't a cheat because this was a dream deferred in a sense.
Right.
And
But
so this was their opportunity to try to understand what had happened because there was never real closure in it.
Right.
And you made a good point about why did she keep the picture, and that
right.
if she would have let go of the picture and really focused on her marriage, maybe her
Right.
husband wouldn't have been
think,
a bump on the log.
Right. I think both of them carried that into their marriages, and really just, pining for this long lost love. Maybe, you can feel when somebody's not really with you, and you can feel those things. And so the woman, she had this picture she had for the last 15 years of her and her long lost love. And, I think her husband probably felt that in some weird way, you know, like he probably felt like I think she loves me, but she's not in it. She's not here.
So I get that. To me personally, I feel like people can't control emotions. Like you can control what you do with them. But in my opinion, you can't control emotions. So she felt a spark. She felt a thing, and so did he, right? And so I don't think you could go into a marriage and like we're not robots. We can't control an emotion. Like if we had an emotion for someone in the past, you can't just turn it off. Well, in my opinion, you can't just turn it off. Now, what you can do is act according to whatever your vow is now. Like, well, I have a vow, I have an agreement, I have an understanding, and it's not just that robotic either. But I'm saying I've fallen in love with someone else, and I'm going to honor this relationship. It's similar to what Erykah Badu said, maybe in the next lifetime or something like that. I think that is what they both decided to do. So in this storyline, they did give a peck on the lips, but they both decided to leave each other, not sleep with each other, go each other's own direction, and go back to their respective homes, right? And so, to me, I've always said though that you can't control emotions. You can control what you do with your emotions. What do you feel about it?
Well, I mean, I don't know that I like that whole thing. You can't control emotions. Like, you know, I've been in relationships before where I I like the person a lot, you know, but I don't like if I were to see them in the streets, like I wouldn't be like, oh, you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
that time has passed for me. Like, those feelings were the feelings back then. I'm not trying to like, I'm not trying to go there. Like I might be like, oh hi, it's good to see you.
Totally.
It's nice to
cordial and all that stuff.
Yeah, but
I get
not
that.
Like,
but let me change the scenario, because I'm saying that there was a scenario that was unresolved that you felt was the love of your life. That's what this television show just portrayed.
Well, so what I would have done, like if I felt like, okay, the love of my life has, been lost or whatever, I think I would have had to communicate that with you.
Okay.
I would have had to, because I wouldn't want you to feel like, there's something in between us, because there would be. There would be something.
That makes sense. And so what this storyline did is the man went back to his wife. I think in his mind, he felt like, well, there's no chance for me. She's married. She has 2 kids.
Yeah.
He went back to his wife and said, I want to work on our marriage, right? And she was willing, it seemed like. And then, ironically, the woman went back to her bump on a log husband and said, we're done.
Yeah.
And I think in her mind, she thought she probably could get back with the love of her life, but he had moved on and tried to work it out with his wife. So poetically done. Yeah. But I think it strikes real chords as to what people are going through. You know what I'm saying? Like, so anyway, that's what we felt. So I felt like number one, it was cheating because she kissed him, but the emotional thing was unresolved feelings that needed to try to be worked out and brought to a close.
And so with the way you said that sentence, you said it was cheating because she kissed him.
Or he kissed her.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I tell you.
No,
it never ends.
No,
it never ends. Like, trust and believe. My Lord. Yes. Okay. So
no, I'm just saying the way you framed it.
Okay.
Was like she cheated, that he didn't.
No. I agree.
They both cheated.
They both cheated. I just want to say that for the record, Your Honor. Okay. So yes, they both cheated.
Yeah.
Because of that peck to me. And then
Yeah.
you were saying emotionally. We were watching Wendy one day. Don't add us about Wendy. Okay, so we were watching Wendy and she was saying to her cheating is anything, even like just going out on a casual date with someone for whatever reason. That's what she said on TV.
Yeah.
Do you remember this?
Yeah, now I feel some kind of way, like I would feel some kind of way about you going out with
We're not talking about us.
Okay.
You are the love of my life.
Okay.
I am not going out with anybody. I get it.
I know.
That's what you keep going back to. This is a story we're watching on TV.
I know. I don't know.
Okay, so whatever. So anyway, we thought it was interesting. What do you guys think? So what is cheating to you? Number one. Number two, are feelings controlled? Like, do you think you could control your emotions to the point of if you have an emotion, sure, you could control what you do with that emotion, but can you actually control the emotion to the extent where you don't even entertain it? Because there's a scripture in the Bible, you know the scripture I'm probably going to mention, but Jesus says, why do you entertain evil thoughts?
Yeah.
So the evil thought was something in and of itself. To me, I don't think people can actually avoid evil thoughts. Right. That's my opinion. I don't think it's possible. I think human beings by nature will have thoughts, whether it's evil or otherwise, but some of them will be evil and they're evil thoughts. They're just things that come to your mind. And then Jesus said, why do you entertain them? So that means that's the next level. You'll hear me say this all the time. To me, there's levels of sin. So it's like, okay, sinful thought.
Yeah.
To me, that's impossible to escape for every human being. And then the part that I do think is possible to escape is entertaining that thought. And so I think the emotion is just an emotion. And then what you decide to entertain is up to you. And then how far you entertain it is another thing that's up to you. And how far you go down that rabbit hole.
Right. And then another scripture is where you put
your treasures.
Your treasure. Mm-hmm. That's
where your heart will be.
And
very good scripture.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. And I think that's the key. You know, there are many relationships in the past that you can go back to and, fantasize about and whatever, but then your heart will be back there. And I think if you, put all of your energy and focus and time into what you have, I think God will bless it.
We agree. So then the issue is the time between that, right? So what Jesus says is put your treasures in heaven, because wherever your treasures are, your heart will be. It doesn't say your heart just follows. It does follow, but in time. So right. It's a process, right? And so I think that's the real life. Like it's easy to say, just cut it off, do this, that, and do this, that, and the third. But I think in real life, and this is what people face, like this is the real truth of marriage. Like we could say the clean cut version of what things should and, be. But then the truth of the matter is that there's these shades of gray that do influence everyday life and within a marriage.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's all. So
yeah, I mean, I think your point is, you can't just, cut off emotions and feelings and things like that. But you have to, it's like we talk about all the time. You have to invest. You have to keep making deposits. Keep making deposits into it.
Agreed.
And,
Agreed.
Yeah.
Because, here's the deal. There's many people in many cultures where marriages are still arranged. So it's not even about love, like, ooh, I love you in that emotional way. It's about convenience, what's advantageous for the future of the families, the two families. It's about a lot of other realities. And this is historically true too. So you're right that you invest in it, deposit into that relationship, no matter how that relationship came about or what things happened in the past. And you keep depositing, and where, like the scripture says, where you place your treasure, your heart will follow.
Right.
So anyway, what do y'all think? This is us watching Modern Love, season 1, episode 2. beautifully done, poetically written.
Amazing.
Props to you guys for writing a great story, whoever wrote it. And yeah, we're enjoying it. So we're having good conversations about this. What do y'all think? Peace and strength.